And we're back. The Canon Club is back for 2025. Stay tuned as I reveal our big reading over the course of 2025. So we've got an incredible year planned for you. This year, we're introducing 2 tiers, 2 different clubs that you can join. The Standard Canon Club that meets monthly to discuss some of the greatest American short stories, and a Premium Canon Club for those ready to dive into some of the most profound and life-changing longer works of literature. But first, why join the Canon Club at all? I have many reasons, but there's 3 that I always emphasize. 1, it's a gym for the brain, challenging you to think critically and grow intellectually. Hopefully you're reading a good amount throughout the year. This is supposed to help you read a little bit more. This is designed for busy professionals. So we're not going to have a really heavy reading schedule that is impossible for someone who's busy to do. Or this club could simply serve as your reading for the year. So just like you pay a monthly fee for going to work out your body, you should pay this monthly fee to join this club to work out your mind. And you will stretch and learn with your mind. I promise you that. A second important reason is there's a lot going on in the world today, pro and against the West. If you're interested in understanding the West, particularly if you're interested in saving the West, at least saving some aspects you think are pro and important about the West, if we want to save the West, we must understand the West. And that means reading the works that built it. And that is these great works of literature from Homer to Melville. And that's what we look at for the Literary Canon Club. And the third reason I think is the most personal, and that is that through literature, you can live infinitely by experiencing countless lives, perspectives, and worlds. So the characters that I'm going to be talking about briefly in this video are videos that you can live in their shoes for a few minutes, for a few hours, for a few weeks. Whether you agree or disagree with them is not always the point. The point is to have a deep experience. So if you want to learn more, head over to troubadour.studio and you can go to the reading list and schedule. So I'll put a link in the show notes, but it's Troubadour, troubadour.studio/reading list and schedule. You can learn more about the 2025 reading list and schedule. So the Canon Club is designed for you to actually read these great works of art. If you've ever picked up a great book of art, if you've ever picked up a great classic book and you think, wow, I really want to read this, you get really excited, this is something you've heard is a wonderful read, you start picking it up, and then you just get overwhelmed, it's daunting, you get busy with life, and so you put it down. This club is for you. You'll get access to the forum, a community of readers just like you. You'll get regular email updates and motivational emails and educational emails to help you keep going, to help keep you on track, to help you think about what's going on during your reading process. So you're going to read along with all of us together. So both memberships, whether standard or premium, come with this growing community of canoneers, people just like you who love great literature, or at least love the idea of reading more great literature and want to dive deeper into this world. And premium members can join both premium and standard club discussions. So let's talk about the Standard Canon Club. We will be reading a selection of great American short stories. We'll meet on the second Sunday of every month at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Why short stories? Well, they are distinctly an American art, born from a busy, industrious people. If you're crunched for time but still want to experience powerful literature, these stories are perfect for you. And 2025, if you haven't been told, marks the 250th anniversary of the battles of Lexington and Concord. That is, the shot heard round the world. The beginning of the American Revolution is 1775. The 2025 is 250th anniversary. So to celebrate, we'll explore some of the greatest and foundational works of literature, which are often and sometimes American short fiction that has shaped the ethos of our nation. Short stories are also a great way to get that same juice and energy of a great novel or epic, but in a condensed way. Now, I won't go through every single story that we're going to read, but here are a few of them for you to peruse, and you can, again, go to troubadour.studio. So we'll be starting with Rip Van Winkle by Washington Irving. We will read the classic Hawthorne short story, Young Goodman Brown. We will read Herman Melville's Bartleby. We're going to take a break from this book. A lot of these stories will be found here to read a Longfellow poem in April and discuss Paul Revere. So Longfellow's poem, Paul Revere's Ride, we will be discussing and talking about that. We'll read more Hawthorne. We'll read some Edgar Allan Poe and Jack London and more. Now to reveal the Premium Canon Club. These are the books that we will be reading that are of epic, bigger stature. So these are novels, and often we'll read epic poems. Although this year, we're going to be sticking with novels and a few plays. As a reminder, Premium Club also allows you to access standard. So you can join the short story discussions as well, or instead of, if you want to skip one of the books we're going to read and just do a series of the standard, that's great as well. I will also be adding more of these discussions, these live discussions as we go forward. For instance, a poetry one, and Premium Club gets you access to all of those. So this first book, William Faulkner said that I read this book every year as some people do the Bible. What is that book? That book is Don Quixote. So we will be reading Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. And this is a book I've read before. I highly recommend it. I think it's one of the canonical works for a reason. It's very important for us to experience at least once, this somewhat pro and satirical and exploration of chivalric romance about the elderly man who gives up everything, takes up a lance and puts on some armor, goes on his old nag Rocinante, and travels around as a knight errant. John Locke said, of all the books of fiction, I know none that equal Cervantes' History of Don Quixote in usefulness, pleasantry, and a constant decorum. George Bernard Shaw said that reading made Don Quixote a gentleman, but believing what he read made him mad. About Don Quixote from Cervantes himself, finally, from so little sleeping and so much reading, his brain dried up and he went completely out of his mind. It's a perfect book to read for a reading book club. Here's another quote. When life itself seems lunatic, who knows where madness lies? Perhaps to be too practical is madness. Too much sanity may be madness. And maddest of all, to see life as it is and not as it should be. As we explore the story of this knight errant, or this man who wanted to become a knight errant, we will explore many modern ideas, including romanticism and where's the line of romanticism, the importance or the unimportance of reality, madness, idealism, and so much more, love and romance, and what should guide and how we should model our lives today. The truth may be stretched thin, but it never breaks, and it always surfaces above lies, as oil floats on water. To dream the impossible dream, that is my quest. Our reading of Don Quixote will go from January to April. Plenty of time for you to read this book. It is a big book, but don't be scared. It's going to be bite sizes that we will be covering this. January is an introduction. So we're just going to talk about it. You don't have to have anything read for the January discussion, but you might want to get started ahead of time if you'd like to get ahead of things. But we'll have 4 full months to read this. And I broke it down. If you join the club, I will send you a reading schedule that I'll recommend for you. You could read at any pace you want. If you miss a discussion, you'll be able to access the recording and other resources that I have for you. so you can read at your own pace. Hopefully you can make all the discussions and contribute. There's the forum, that's a very active forum, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. You'll have plenty of time to go through this. It's a wonderful read, and I can assure you it will change your life and your perspective on life. That's what these ground-shaking novels and works do for you. Next up, May through July, we will be reading 3 Shakespeare plays. Those plays are, you can get them here, but these are also available for free online. I'll send lots of resources and things that you can look at. And if you really don't want to read, if you want to take a break from the reading, although I recommend you read it, you can, of course, watch one of the popular movies, which will allow you to enter the discussion as well. But I really recommend you try to read it and watch some of these movies if you have the time. But the 3 plays are going to be Julius Caesar, Hamlet, and King Lear. Now, some of you may know that I've recently begun my acting career with Austen Shakespeare. I'll bring fresh insights into these great works and help you learn ways to read plays and get the literary enjoyment as well as the engagement of the ideas, the characters, the plots in reading a script. The purpose of playing is to hold, as 'twere, the mirror up to nature, to show virtue her own feature, scorn her own image, and the very age and body of time his form and pressure. Hamlet. And then from August to December, I decided we should read one of the greatest novels written in the English language, one of the most popular, influential, and important reads on any list of great novels. This is always on there, and that is Middlemarch by George Eliot. It's a pen name, by the way. We'll talk about that. So we're going to end the year with George Eliot's sweeping masterpiece, one of the greatest novels in English. Like Don Quixote, we'll spread this over 4 months. It is always fatal to have music or poetry interrupted. George Eliot. Virginia Woolf famously said, Middlemarch is one of the few English novels written for grown-up people. Middlemarch is a sweeping tale of ambition, love, and the quiet struggles of ordinary lives, exploring how our choices ripple through society and the human heart. You may be less knowledgeable about Middlemarch. Even if you know nothing about Shakespeare and Don Quixote, you probably have heard that these are great works that you might want to read. You may not have heard that about Middlemarch unless you're studying English literature. So I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why I think you should consider reading this book and joining us for the Premium Canon Club. George Eliot elevates the everyday struggles of normal people, their marriage, ambition, compromise, and failure, lives that we live, into something deeply meaningful. This is a critical aspect of what literature provides for us. The book celebrates lives that don't necessarily become legendary, but still shape the growing good of the world. Here's a quote from the book. The growing good of the world is partly dependent on unhistoric acts, and that things are not so ill with you and me as they might have been, is half owing to the number who lived faithfully a hidden life and rest in unvisited tombs. Middlemarch is a love letter to the unsung heroes of life, people like everyone around us, yourself possibly included. It reminds us that the small, faithful choices we make matter more than we think. 2. It makes us see life and ourselves more clearly. Here's a quote from the book. We are all of us born in moral stupidity, taking the world as an udder to feed our supreme values. Through its pages, you'll confront your own flaws and dreams, but not in an overly judgmental way. Eliot writes with compassion, urging us to live with self-awareness, and I think that's an important one that we need today. It's a map of real life, not a fairy tale. I'm very pro fairy tale, but it's also great to have maps of the real world, a kind of realism, which we'll be exploring the line between reality and fantasy in Don Quixote, as well as some of the other works that we'll be reading. So this is an important theme you might start seeing throughout a lot of the works we're reading in 2025. The 4th reason, it inspires us to see others with greater compassion. Quote, it is a narrow mind which cannot look at a subject from various points of view. I find this to be something that is shrinking more and more in our society today, that people are less and less capable, including highly intelligent individuals, from the ability to see a subject from various points of view. Now, notice I'm not necessarily saying that we should agree with all points of view, but we should be capable of coming at a subject from a variety of points of view. So that is your reading schedule for this year, 2025. Again, go to troubadour.studio to find out more about the reading schedule. Before you go, I will show you a couple of the nice perks of joining the Canon Club. So first up, go to troubadour.studio, reading list schedule, and you'll see a list of all the upcoming events. It's important to me that we don't overwhelm with too many people in individual groups. So we'll have multiple groups as we go in the future, and we won't go over 15, 16 people, because I want everybody to have the opportunity to speak up and to engage with the conversation. Now, as I said, there's a standard and a premium. The premium gets you access to the standard. The standard is at 10:30 to 11:30, and the premium is 11:30 to 1. So the premium is a little bit longer. I'll be adding to this as time goes on and as more of you join. So if you just want to join standard, great, do that. If you want to join premium and do Don Quixote, but you don't want to do Shakespeare plays, then you can do the standard at that time. And like I said, I'll be adding to that. You can come here and look at all the different dates of what you will be reading over the course of the year. Another great resource is the community and the forum. So I'll be giving you lots of resources and courses and supplementary material. You can use as much or as little as you want. That's one of the perks of joining the Premium Canon Club, as well as the Standard Club. You get access to this forum, which is an engaging place for people to experience, discuss. We'll have special Zoom meetings that are hangouts, so people of like mind can discuss these great works and, anything that they're interested in discussing. Sometimes we'll just watch a movie or discuss a movie that is based on a book or a play that we're reading. So don't miss out on this opportunity to engage with the world's greatest works of art, guided by me with lots of resources, and I think most importantly, with a growing community of like-minded, imaginative readers such as you. And even if you don't think of yourself as a great imaginative reader, this is the place to help train and develop that. It is a skill that anybody can and should develop. So visit Troubadour Studio/reading list and schedule to learn more and to sign up. If you have any questions, you can email me at troubadourmag@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe this video, share it with your friends. The Canon Club thrives on the support of canoneers and their friends. Spread the word and join us in this enlightening journey through the greatest works of Western literature.